As the mist leaves no scar by Leonard Cohen. As the mist leaves no scar on the dark green hill, so my body will leave no scar on you, nor ever will. When wind and hawk encounter, what remains to keep? As you and I encounter, then turn, then fall to sleep. As many nights endure without the moon or star, so we will endure when one is gone and far. So yes, a little thing from Leonard Cohen, the singer-songwriter, born 1930, born in, oh God, somewhere in here I have information on Leonard Cohen. But he was born and he died not too long ago. Apparently I've completely lost whatever that information was, but we'll take it as read and it's somewhere down below. So yeah, I picked this one for my second poetry tube thing to just kind of go over, just because it's 3 stanzas, relatively easy to get into my head and great to kind of go through. It's got that kind of that rhythmic thing. There's that rhyme of the scar and scar, hill, will, encounter, keep, sleep, endure, star, far, it's like, oh, simple. It's like, and we have the start of the first stanza as the mist things, and the last stanza as nights, and with the middle one of when wind, and interestingly, each stanza starts with so my body, and then so you and I, and then so will we endure. So it's like a simple poem, but like, it's tightly rhymed, tightly structured. Seems like, oh, here's a romantic poem about a lover saying, hey, I'm not going to leave any scar on you, and we're just, it's like, well, why are we talking about scars? Who brought up scars? It's like, yeah, I think this is one of my first lessons of when the poet says like, oh, I'm not going to scar you. That means the poet's is putting that idea in your head of, there's a potential for scar. Maybe I am gonna scar you. There's definitely a certain part of this poetry where you almost get the sense of it's somebody who is abusive, who is dangerous, which kind of goes into if you know Leonard Cohen, goes into his dark, romantic, troubled troubadour image that he projects, and so successfully projected throughout his career as a singer-songwriter. But but it's like he uses like, scar, and then, and it's like, my body leaves no scar. So he sort of removed himself, like, oh, it wasn't me, baby. It was my body that scarred you. And, there's the things like dark green hill. And you think about a lover of like hill. I mean, like, to me, that's hill maybe being kind of semi-feminine, and green being kind of the fertileness, but also dark. And we get into dark later with the night at the very end, which connects in. But yes, very much but no, I never will scar you, which is like one of these, like, that's something that's going to be said by somebody who's going to end up scarring you. And then we get, the second stanza of the 3 of this packed little poem here of when wind and hawk encounter, what remains to keep? So you and I encounter, then turn, then fall to sleep. And it's like, it's interesting, we're using the word encounter, which you would think in something that's sort of, it's a rhyme. It's almost like, I get this kind of, I don't know, it's the rhythm of it. I get this kind of like a troubadour sort of thing, but you're using a word like encounter, which is a very clinical term. And indeed, when wind and hawk encounter, that makes sense. But when you and I, it's the one time he's using, I believe, in this thing where he uses I, it's like, instead of like, we sleep, encounter and then turn and fall to sleep. It's like he's describing like, us, having sex or making love, but he calls it encounter. And then turn, then fall to sleep, which is also wonderful in that kind of that then turn, then fall to sleep. It kind of gives you that sense of turning in it, which with, hawk. And I always think of that with not Keats, see, this is what happens, the turning gyre in Yeats, thank you. I think of that's where I learned all my hawk knowledge, and that kind of a turning thing and of a hawk. But also you get like something like a hawk, which is like a raptor. So we're back into kind of like more dangerous territory, even though, you know, and instead of wind, like, you know, wind is something pretty amorphous. It's like when it's two creatures, like when it's a hawk is one of the creatures, the other creature is sort of the prey. You get that idea. But also, there's also this thing of like, you get the mist in the first thing, and you get this, you know, the wind in the hawk, and then you and I encounter, there's sort of this sort of a barrenness in there, if you get what I mean. Like, you know, the mist, it's not going to leave a scar, but it's not going to leave really much else as well. And when wind and hawk encounter, what remains to keep? It's like when you and I encounter, yeah, we've had sex, we've made love, but there's not going to be any, this isn't going to bear any fruit, whether it's going to be a lasting relationship, whether this is going to be actual, you know, a child, but it doesn't seem like this is going to be a fruitful relationship. This is going to be a barren relationship, which is where we then come on to this, the final stanza of, as many nights endure without a moon or star, so we will endure when one is gone and far. And, you know, we get, you know, night, which you know, you say it out loud, it's like, okay, this nights is combative nights in some ways, which is also kind of gets me back into that kind of knights of old and troubadours and kind of romantic poetry. And this is deeply not romantic poetry. This is a poetry about scarring, about hawks, about you know, with love without connection, without bearing fruit. So as many a night endure, and you get that endure, it's like it's a night is enduring something without a moon or star. So we, you know, without a moon star is like absolute black. You can't see anything. I almost get like kind of the void of space and that kind of chilliness. And so we will endure when one is gone and one is gone and far. So when you get to the end of the poem, and it's like he's saying goodbye. He's saying, I'm leaving, you know. So we will endure when one, probably the speaker, is gone and far. And I mean, you think about it, as a moon is far, as a star is far, far, far. You know, it's just like that's just the rupture of black space. And you will endure, and, you know, he's claiming that the speaker is claiming that it's not going to scar you, but, you know, you're going to endure. And it's like, I think you can endure with scars. And, you know, so it's, this is a poem where I think you get, first readings, a surface reading, you might kind of think about like kind of the romantic side. Then your second reading, it's like, you know, oh, there's a bit of disquiet. Like, why is he talking about scars and, you know, enduring? And then, you know, I get kind of like, you know, the lying lover. And then you get to the end and it's like, this is like the coldness of space. And where one is gone and far. One is, you know, the moon, one is the star far out. And I don't know, maybe I'm a superstar. I don't know. So yes, that is my little reading of As the Mist Leaves No Scar by Leonard Cohen, who was a fellow who could do a lot with just a few words and what were deceptively simple words. And also, you know, I'm someone who doesn't really think of myself as somebody who like kind of rhyming poetry, but this is a highly structured little, deceptively simple little, intricately crafted little box. So I hope you've enjoyed that. That's poetrytube video number 2 down, and away we go from there, and away I go to work. Bye for now.